All right. What is up? What is up, everyone? This is Near Protocol Philippines. This is your host, Orvard. And tonight we have a special guest. He is a full-fledged blockchain NFT artist. In fact, he's a comic book artist. Also, he's a featured artist on paras.id. Was that IO or ID?
It's ID.
ID. Low-tech millennial here, by the way. But it's interesting because I feel like I'm just having a conversation with my friend here because Sam and I, we have a lot of things going on, doing a lot of project. But yeah, I'm just so proud that we've finally gotten the time to record this interview. And I would like to the world to share his story because he's a very interesting guy. And we're going to talk about honoring our creative and artistic inclination. And on top of that, he's also a proud full-time dad to Cameron and also a proud husband. He's a family man, but he's doing also a lot of work on the blockchain. So yeah, without further ado, everyone, please help me in welcoming Sam Flores, a.k.a. on the blockchain, Samtoshi F. Baby. Sam, welcome to the show.
Well, thanks for the introduction. I appreciate that, Orvard. Yeah, hi, I'm Sammy Flores. Nice to be here. Ready, excited, answer all your questions. Let's go ahead and talk about me.
All right. But just for the audience to know, we're gonna do something different tonight. We're gonna ask Sam actually to do his thing while we proceed with our interview. So I'm gonna ask him questions, and then he's gonna share his screen, so that this is gonna be a dynamic, visual and audio combination of show, right? So Sam, you can start sharing your screen while we start also asking you.
Absolutely. It's gonna be awesome. I'll be able to go ahead and show you some of the stuff I'm working on while we're communicating here, and yeah, it's gonna be great. Let me share my screen with you. What I'm gonna be showing you right now is Tales from the Odd number 2. If you're not familiar, right now I have a couple of different series on Paris HQ. Or paras.id, however you want to go ahead and call it. It's a new platform on the Near blockchain, and they sell digital art cards. So one of the series I'm working on is a collaborative collection with my mentor, Gary Odd Edmund. He is known for The Bud. He's known for Freedom, Filled, Flavorful, Faithfully Fierce, Fantastic, Fear-Facing Food Fighters, which I do with him. And yeah, he does a lot of comic book sketch cards. He works with Marvel. He did the Infinity War, the 10-year anniversary sketch cards. So he does there's a lot of one-of-ones that they're actually physical cards. But yeah, he trained me. He took me under his wing about 4 or 5 years ago, and he really taught me a lot of everything that I know. So yeah, right now this is one of the pieces that I'm working on. It's a mutated Ninja Turtle, so I'll be inking this while we go ahead and conversate.
It's funny because the Ninja Turtles it's like redundant, right? Because the Teenage Mutant, they're already mutated, but you're still mutating it into further into whatever it's going to pan out later on. So
yeah, so it looks like Gary had a idea for a one-eyed Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, or maybe he was watching like X-Men or something at the time, because I know he likes to watch different cartoons or shows while he comes up with his creations. But yeah, it came out. This is how it looks big. So right now I'm doing the inking, and so what I've done is I've put the original drawing, I scanned it in, right, and then I lower the opacity, which makes it transparent, kind of. I put it at 50 or 45, 50, wherever it gets to, and then I pop in another layer and I start going over it, and it's pretty much, inking is pretty easy because all I do is trace.
Right.
I go in there, I get super zoomed in. I go in there, I'm just doing quick little strokes here and there. And
there you go.
it's real basic. I could do this and
Yeah.
talk to anybody.
So
And
while
then
you're tracing, maybe we'll trace your story back chronologically.
yeah, we could. Nice segue.
Yeah, yeah. I'm a verbal architect as well, so I like doubling down on my
Yeah, you are
strength
the
there.
man with words.
Yeah, let's go back to how you started, like maybe as an infant. No, like where's your hometown?
Well, so I was born in Corpus Christi, Texas.
Hmm.
And then at the age of right before I turned 2 or a year and a half, somewhere around there, I don't know, I can't recall. Too I was too young. But I moved. My parents moved to Laredo, Texas, which is on the border of Texas and Mexico. So that's where I was raised, and I lived there until I was the age of 19, 18 years old. I came to the, I moved to San Antonio, and I attended the University of Texas. Got my degree in psychology with emphasis in human and sports performance. Then I went to grad school for a little bit. Didn't quite finish it, but I was trying to get a degree in exercise science. My goal at the time was to become I wanted to become a college basketball coach. I really wanted to follow in the footsteps of one of my coaches who coached me whenever I was in high school. His name's Caleb Canales. He's actually a coach in the NBA right now. So I really wanted to follow in his footsteps, and yeah, eventually I didn't do that. I ended
Yeah,
up getting a job. I ended up getting a job with USAA Federal Savings Bank, and it kind of changed my outlook on different things. They paid me a lot right away. So when I graduated, I was only like 23, 24 years old, and so they gave me a whole bunch of money.
yeah,
And at the time, whenever you get a whole bunch of money, you're like, hey, so like priorities change, things happen. Uh, Life happened, so I didn't really finish graduate school and accomplish becoming, a coach. I ended up just working for the bank for about 3 to 4 years. Then I had an opportunity in wealth management and moved to Chicago for about 6 to 8 months.
yeah,
And things didn't work out there either. So I found myself back in San Antonio, and I was working for Progressive Insurance for a while until I was like, you know what, all these corporate jobs are just not for me. Like I'm more of a creative person who needs to be discussing different things. So while I tried to figure out what I was going to be doing, I went to bartending because that's what I did throughout college.
yeah,
And so I bartended for a long time. And at the age of 27, that's whenever I was introduced to Gary. And it's crazy because if we want to like pause for a second and go back in history, I started doing art at a very young age. I was introduced to a bunch of different mediums. I took a bunch of art classes when I was in Laredo. There was this gallery artist by the name of Rosario Asios. She was very good. She taught me everything about pastels. She taught me how to draw. She taught me how to do basic animation from like tracing paper, like how the old school Disney
yeah.
uh,
Is that where
movies.
you can? Is it how
Yeah,
you?
flip the page. Yep,
Wow,
exactly. Yeah. So
wow. That must
she
have
taught me
been.
how to do a whole bunch of things like that. And I was actually featured on a a talk show, like a Hispanic Mexican talk show on one of the local channels in Laredo to talk about, you know, how I did a small little animation reel. It was like a 30 or 45-second animation of Michael Jordan shooting a shot. And I was like 8 years old or 9 years old. So like they were like, all these people were like impressed. So
Yeah,
age, I was given a little bit of attention for my artwork, and then in middle school, I actually won a contest where I won third place. It wasn't like first place or anything, but I did a self portrait while looking at a mirror with color pencils. So I didn't have a picture of myself. I was looking at the mirror the whole time, and I drew myself. And yeah, I got third place at this Life Downs festival, and it was pretty cool. I always had a thing for being artistic.
Mm.
Even whenever I was in middle school, we had the opportunity to choose our like electives for like classes,
Yeah.
and you know, a lot of the athletes, because I was an athlete too. I played basketball. Of course,
Mm.
that's how I wanted to become a basketball coach. But a lot of the athletes got the opportunity to be in PE or a specific class for the sport that they would play. And instead, I did art. Like I had no, I got art too. I took art two twice, so that way I could continue doing my artwork.
Yeah.
And so like everybody else had a head start for athletics, I think. But you know, uh, I was just very I really like to be artistic, especially when I was younger and I didn't have any responsibilities or was still
Mm.
trying to figure out who I was. You know, whenever you have a hobby like drawing or painting or whatever you're doing, pastels, whatever, you really have the opportunity to let your mind ease and focus on different things. So I was very fortunate to have this skill at a young age.
Yeah. And I guess that I think that um you lost yourself there when the lucrativeness of the career in the banking space probably must have you know um put you, oh man, what's the word, must have distracted you, so to speak. Man, this is a lot of money. Yeah, let's do this, let's be practical for now, and
Yeah, exactly,
yeah, is that
exactly.
is
It
that is that
definitely,
how you felt?
yeah, it definitely. Whenever you get presented with money at a young age, like that. I mean, I went from, you know, I would work two jobs as a server, during college to making, a whole bunch of money for just 8 hours a day. Like I was constantly doing things, and then,
Mm.
I was making more. Like I was making over $50,000, and
Wow.
it was a lot. Yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot. So I I didn't need to work another job. So I
Mm.
would just go hang out with friends, and I was young. We would go to bars. We'd go hang out. We'd travel, do a
Yeah.
bunch of things. So I definitely got an opportunity to have fun and live life and stuff like that. So that definitely helped out.
Yeah.
Having a great job at the beginning of my younger 20s. It was good, but also like I said, it took away from you know my artistic side. I was really focused on different things whenever I went to college. I kind of wish I would have gone into like animation or something artistic and got used my schooling like that,
Yeah.
because it would have benefited me more. I maybe I would have been working, with Pixar or something like that. But
Mhm.
then again, uh, I wouldn't be where I am right now, and I'm really happy with everything that's going on right now, especially with being involved with the blockchain and learning all this new tech. I mean, everything happens for a reason.
Yep.
So, once I turned the age of 18 and I graduated high school, I stopped doing art, and I didn't pick up art until maybe like 4 or 5 months before I met Gary. Because, like I said, I had stopped working for all these corporations, and I was like, you know what, I need to start doing something. And there's a lot of things. There's a lot of little things that they do here in the community in San Antonio.
Yeah.
And one of them is called First Friday, and every Friday they have like this like place downtown where people are selling their artworks and different things that they make. And
Hmm.
so I actually started doing acrylic painting, and that's how
Okay.
I started getting back into the artwork. And after that, like I did that for a few months. I didn't even go to First Friday. Like I made like 20, 30 paintings, and I was about to get set up to do that. And then I got a phone call from one of my friends. named Hector, and he hit me up and he was like, "Hey man, I want to talk to you about this opportunity that I have come across. Would you be interested in managing a bar?" And I'm like, "What? I don't know. I'm really not into like doing these corporate things anymore, or working for somebody. I want to do something for myself." And he's like, "Oh yeah, that sounds good." And he's like, "Hey, well, did you know, I'm gonna start writing this comic book." I'm like, "What? You're gonna start writing a comic book?" He's like, "Yeah. I met this comic book artist uh, at my work, and he was a car. He sells cars, so he's like a manager for the car, like uh, like for the car salesman, and he does the back work with them, the finances and stuff like that."
You're talking
So
about Gary.
yeah, no, Hector.
Oh,
Hector was doing the car stuff, and then he's like, "Yeah, I met a comic book artist selling a car, and that's how he met Gary, right?"
okay.
And he's like, "Yeah, so I met this guy. His name's Gary. Um, he's awesome, dude. Like we're there just talking back and forth. He tells me he's a comic book artist. He drew. He literally saw a picture of a Ninja Turtle that I had on the back wall. This is Hector talking, right? He's like, I had a Ninja Turtle on the back wall, but it was with three Ninja Turtles. It wasn't all four. And so in like a matter of 15 to 30 seconds, this guy drew the missing Ninja Turtle. I was like, "Hey, here, this is for you. You're missing a turtle." And so we started talking about comic books, and I told him how I love to write, and we started talking this and that. So now I'm gonna write a comic book, and we're actually looking for somebody who could do coloring and stuff like that. It's all done on Photoshop, and I was like, "What? It's done on Photoshop?" He's like, "Yeah." I'm like, I was Photoshop certified, back in high school. I took a graphic arts and I learned all that stuff. I would love the opportunity to show you what I could do. And he's like, "Really?" I'm like, "Yeah." And so, Gary, and he got me on a text group chat with Gary,
Hmm.
and he sent me a page for me to go ahead and color. And then I colored it,
Yeah.
and he liked it. And he was like,
Yeah.
"Hey, I like what you do. I think I could show you a little bit more things, or I could show you how to refine you know, some of the things that you already know. A lot of things have changed, and with Photoshop in the past couple of years, you might need you know a refresher, and we could get you organized to know how to do it the comic book way." And I was like, "All right, cool." So I actually took classes with Gary for about a year and a half, like where I would go over to his house every week, like no matter what, every week, rain,
Wow.
sun, sky, and I would go and we would practice and practice and practice. So yeah, and at first it was just the coloring. Um, so he really taught me how to set up the page, how to go to different layers, and go about handling the coloring. And then after a couple of months doing that, or like a year and a half of doing that, I started working with him on comics.
Okay.
So my first introduction to a comic book was this one called A Perfect Wonder, and it was awesome. I mean, I loved the opportunity. It was the first time I got a chance to color, and
Yeah.
yeah, like to color something like and be like a creative. Like there's no feeling like seeing your work like at the end, like
Hmm.
like when you get the book and you get to open it.
Yeah.
It's an amazing feeling. Like
Okay.
there's no better feeling. And so A Perfect Wonder, we did that one, and the person who was in charge is McLean McGuire. He's a great guy. He gave me an opportunity to come on and be the colorist at Gary's recommendation. Gary kind of stuck his head out. I was like, "Hey, dude, I've been working with this guy. He's a really good guy. I think we should try it out." So um, we started working together, and I was contracted to do three issues. And
Hmm.
so I got those done, and on the independent comic book circuit, it's different. So we're basically required to either submit it to a publisher and hope that they like it enough for it to get picked up, and then it goes to the comic book stores, and people have the opportunity to purchase it, and that's the ideal way. Well, as an amateur comic book artist and writers, we don't like a lot of, unless it's like a home run, which all of us think our ideas are home runs. But when we have to rely on a publisher or editor, they need to think it's a home run. But yeah, so if it's not a home run in the publisher's eyes, then the next best thing is to market yourself, right?
Yeah.
So we would go to Comic Cons and
Okay.
try to sell the books. And so that was cool. I got to meet a lot of cool people and learn how it worked to be on, doing Comic Cons as an amateur comic book artist. So I did like 4 or 5 of those, and it was cool. I even got to go to Laredo, where I was raised, and I was selling my comic book. I met, saw a whole bunch of my friends there, and it was really good.
Did you get to put on some costumes during Comic Cons?
I don't do any of the cosplays or anything like that, but my but my kids, they were able to do it. Like I know you mentioned Cameron earlier. Like Cameron's my youngest, but I do have 2 older ones.
Yeah.
They're 13 years old. They're about to be 14.
Kira and
Kira and Connor.
Connor. There you go.
Yeah. They're twins. So they got a chance to do the cosplay and the dressing up. I thought it would be better for me to just be normal looking Sam.
Because I think they're gonna be embarrassed. Like, Dad, come on, you don't have to like put on the costume. It's for us.
Nah, I mean they're real cool about it. They were younger, so I believe when we first took them to Comic Con, they were like 9 or 10. So they had fun. I believe at the time Deadpool was one of the big ones. So Connor dressed as Deadpool, and so there's a whole bunch of other people that dressed as Deadpool too. So he got to take a whole bunch of pictures. And then with Kira was Harley Quinn, so she loved it. They loved the experience. So it was good going to a couple Comic Cons and stuff like that. But then things happened with a Perfect Wonder. We really never got off the floor, even though we thought we had different opportunities. One of the guys that we all really look up to is Todd McFarlane. I'm not sure.
Todd McFarlane, Spawn.
Yeah, exactly. He actually has a issue of a Perfect Wonder. McLean McGuire, he actually had the opportunity to go to the Hawaii Comic Con, and that's where Todd McFarlane was being featured, and he was able to, give Todd one of our comics, and we thought we were going to have a great opportunity. Nothing ever came of it, and then we just stopped working on it. Things kind of fell apart as a group with a Perfect Wonder, and so we just stopped working on that one. But from a Perfect Wonder, it opened up the door for me and Gary to kind of have a real like partnership as far as being colorist for his drawings. Like he does his pencils and inks them, and then I go ahead and color it. That's the way it was at the beginning. I mean, right now he did the pencils for this one, and I'm like going and digitally inking his work right now. But then so we were able to then work on the comic book that my friend said he was writing. That one was Claire. We only did 2 issues of that. Nothing ever happened. So it's a whole, being an independent comic book artist. It's a whole bunch of things like that. You really need to have a lot of commitment from your team. So and it's difficult sometimes whenever everybody has other jobs or we have different priorities. Life happens, kids, stuff like that. So things like that happen. So after a couple of different comic books that Gary and I worked on together, I kind of got a little frustrated, to be honest, because I wanted to keep going. You know what I mean? I wanted to keep producing. So I was like, you know what? I think I can write my own comic. Let me try this out. So I came up with a crazy idea. It's called Henry the Elf. It's a Christmas story, and it really came about from my my two oldest kids who were kind of obsessed with the Elf in the Shelf,
Okay.
and I like after I didn't grow up with the Elf on the Shelf. I'm not like a Elf on the Shelf type of person, but we did it, and like so the kids can have fun and they can learn. But after a certain age, we're like, hey, Santa Claus isn't real. You have to, we had to tell them, Santa wasn't real. But they were still obsessed with the Elf on the Shelf. The next year, they wanted to put it out, and we're like, "Yeah, we want to do the Elf on the Shelf. Santa's gonna come bring us presents." And I was like, "What are you talking about? We already told you Santa Claus isn't real. Your mom's Santa." and they were like, "I know, but we still just like it." So me being the guy that I am, I came up with a story that kind of like I was like, well, you know what? Imagine if like there was a bunch of elves and they were like evil elves, right? And they would
Yeah.
start doing all these things and stuff like that, and then it kind of transformed into a real different idea. And so my idea came about like this. So I decided that I wanted to make it more like me and my friends, right? So I created Henry the Elf, and the base story is a bunch of friends who are graduating from Elf Academy, and they they're graduating from Elf Academy, and they're all hanging out after graduating, and talking like amongst each other like friends, like just kind of like bullshitting and like talking different rumors and saying stuff like
Yeah.
that, and like
Who
so
was the who was the alpha male?
an alpha male. I don't
The,
know. They're all kind of bullyish to Henry. So it revolves around six elves. It's and they all are based off my friends. So they all I got their permission to make like for Gary to draw them to look like the elves too. So Henry's one of my best friends, so he looks like Henry the elf. And then you have DJ, we have Jesse, we have George, who's I call him Poke. That's like his nickname. Then I have Freddie and who else? So it's Freddie, Rudy, DJ, Henry, Jesse. Yeah, and those are the main elves. I think I got all of them. Sorry if I missed one. But
okay.
yeah, so they're all like talking to each other, and so they're bringing up all these rumors. They're all drinking, they're smoking, they're having a good time, and Rudy comes up and says, "Hey, I've been hearing all these crazy rumors about Santa Claus. I heard he's a piece of shit. Like he's not all what we think he is. Like I heard
Okay.
that he cheats on Mrs. Claus, and he gets all drunk off eggnog and hits her, and I heard he's a real possessive guy. And then Henry like interjects and he's like, "What? Are you kidding me? Like, there's no way he could be that an evil person. Like, he's the most jolly guy there is in the entire universe. Like, he's Santa Claus." And and so they kind of like convince him. They're like, "Hey, well, if you don't believe us, why don't you go check it out for yourself?" So they kind of convince him to go spy on Santa Claus. And so he goes and he spies on Santa Claus, and he finds out that it's the truth. So
Oh.
Santa Claus in my story is a bad guy.
Mm.
Or he's not a bad guy. He just doesn't have very good values. He's always cheating on Mrs. Claus, and he's very possessive and mean, and he's just a real bad type of leader. Maybe you could call him, I don't know, maybe like a Trump type guy. I don't know. Just like
Okay.
different perceptions of like how people perceive people. But yeah,
Right.
you could say like that. So,
Hmm.
Henry the Elf gets caught, and so he gets banished from the North Pole, and so it's a revenge story for Henry the Elf. And so he comes back, and he it's like John Wick. Have you ever seen John Wick?
Hmm.
Yeah. So you know how John Wick's uh, dog gets killed, and it kind of sets him off, and he
Yeah.
just comes back, and he's all crazy. Yeah. So it's kind of the same thing for Henry. So there's a lot of
We seem to have lost Sam. Sam, are you there? I lost you there for a bit.
It's all good. It's all good. We're recording now again, right?
Yeah, we're still.
All right, let me share my screen again.
Yeah, but this was before your exposure to blockchain, wasn't this?
Yes, this is all before I even, yeah, this is all I knew before blockchain. So like,
But
this
you
is
were
all
already carving your own path to some degree, which kind of, I think, segues into like, paving the way for the blockchain enterprise there, if you will, right? Because you were willing to
Yep, yep, yep.
to like a maverick, not, no pun intended
Yeah,
there, being in Texas.
definitely, definitely. Yeah, I wasn't really satisfied doing just normal jobs. So I knew that I always wanted to be, a creator. And, at a young age, I loved comic books. I mean, who doesn't love comic books? My favorite character is Batman and the Joker. So a lot of things that I, do now are all comic based things. Like I do.
Okay. It seems that this is not intentional, by the way. We lost Sam there for a bit. I think he's coming back. He's gonna come back for sure. That's an interesting story, guys, because Samtoshi actually is a featured artist on paras.id. And hold on, I'm just gonna tell him that it can just jump back on. Right. Yeah. There you go. In a bit, we're gonna take a look at what he does. And well, we've already seen what he's doing and what he does, but his collection on Paris as his portfolio, that's his specialization, coloring. And okay, all right, so we're still recording here. And I don't know what's happening, but he's gonna surely be jumping back on. Okay. But essentially, guys, the whole point of the story tonight or today or this afternoon, whenever you are seeing this, is that in the blockchain world, if you are a serious artist, then you can start earning. We actually have more than 20 fellow Filipinos who have been onboarded, whitelisted on Paras, and they've already started selling their NFT arts. And many of them, in fact, have already profited from their creations. And we have a meeting every Thursdays at 9 p.m. Philippine time. Moreover, we have a Telegram group chat. And also we are on Facebook. We've got our Facebook group and Facebook page. So Near Protocol Philippines. And we're also on Instagram. We're going to put it on the show notes, rather. We're waiting for Sam, actually. Hopefully he's going to jump back on. Okay, here we go. Here he is. Okay. There goes Sammy. There he is.
There you go. Sorry,
Yeah.
dude. I don't know what's happening.
We'll just proceed. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, you have to go ahead and allow me to share my screen again if you'd like.
Yeah, right. Okay. So let's ask Sam to share. Yep. Okay, you can try it now. So how did you get introduced to blockchain?
So my introduction to blockchain happened after like the start of the pandemic. So in 2020, when the pandemic first started,
Mhm.
comic books kind of like took a little bit of a hit. All the printers stopped printing. Everybody was kind of like stopped like working.
Yeah.
So I I I just stopped for a little bit as well. We all just put everything on a hold, and then after a while, I was like, hey, I got to figure something else out just in case comics don't really come back, and I was just gonna go back to bartending. It was just gonna be I was just gonna go back until I figured something else out, and then uh, I heard of cryptocurrency. I started hearing more and more about Bitcoin and Ethereum. Well, I had always heard of Bitcoin. Bitcoin is always something I had been familiar with, not to the degree I am now, but I had always heard about it, and it was
Were
crazy
you
because
still in the banking industry during the 2007 and 8 financial crisis?
actually no, I didn't start banking. I didn't start doing banking until 2010
Okay.
or 2011.
All right.
2011 because
Okay.
I graduated college in 2009, and
Mm.
then I did graduate school for about a year and a half,
Hmm.
and then it was in January of 2011. That's whenever I started doing the banking. So I wasn't even familiar with Bitcoin at that point.
Okay.
But yeah, so I started learning a little bit about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, and so then I started learning about Ethereum. And I was like, oh, Ethereum looks like something that I would be willing to invest in. And I heard more and more about the different marketplaces showing up. And at that point, there was a gentleman by the name of Jose Delbos. He's
Hmm.
a comic book artist, and I saw that he was, creating digital art and selling it for cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, you know what? Yeah. And so I started researching it more and more. And I think I waited a little bit too long because I had started researching in December about it, and I didn't really start doing anything until February. And by that point, Ethereum had gone up about from like 500 to like $1,200. So like the gas fees were going up, and that was
Right.
real. That was right when the big huge you know like awareness of NFTs started getting mainstream.
What year was
Like
this? 17,
this,
18?
no, no, this was already in 2020.
Okay.
So I started learning about blockchain uh, at the beginning of this year.
Okay.
So my introduction to it was through Ethereum, and that's whenever I got on Rarible. I created the man of Bitcoin very early, and that was
Um,
my
were were
introduction.
you were you just interested in Ethereum from a investment vehicle perspective? Because I understand you were in banking, and I assume that you have a measure of understanding in wealth management of different investment vehicles, and cryptocurrency probably may have proven itself to be a plausible investment vehicle when it comes to buy and hold and long-term growth and all that, pretty much like the stock market. What was that was that your entry to it, and then you realized that, hey, I can actually do art within the blockchain world and get paid in crypto?
Exactly.
Is that how you thought about it?
Yeah, that's exactly how it happened. I wasn't even looking at it from an artistic standpoint. I was more, just looking at putting some money away and figuring out how to start saving for the future. And I had heard a lot of good things about cryptocurrency, and I really like started to hear about how it was going to become the future, and how different cryptocurrencies were becoming assets and being traded. And at first I was like, you know what, maybe I could be like a day trader for
Hmm.
cryptocurrencies. And then that didn't work out at all. Like I did not comprehend, like maybe not that I didn't comprehend, but I wasn't willing to put that much time and effort into, you know, following these like volatile movements for cryptocurrency. It was so wild. I don't know how people do it. And kudos to anybody who does do it. Like it's amazing that you could have that sort of, attention span and like attention to detail with technical analysis and all that crazy
Fundamentals
stuff.
and all that jazz.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
But
yeah,
I guess that you were trying, I think you almost lost yourself there again, Sam, because maybe, you thought that it was just purely a financial instrument, and then pandemic hit. And then as a family man, you're probably putting the hat of a provider there. So maybe we were thinking, enough of all these art, we got to go practical, because we got to, during these times of uncertainty, we need to, diversify our portfolio and put our different eggs in different baskets.
yeah. Well, fortunately, during the pandemic, so let me go back a little bit. In 2018, I was working a lot. Like I was working 6 days a week as a bartender. But
Mm,
I would do daytime bartending, and
okay.
so I would work at a mall, and it was awesome. I had so much fun. I met so many different people. Had a bunch of regulars that would come in on a daily basis just to speak to me about sports because that's one of my hobbies. I love sports. Like I right now right now it's crazy because I don't really follow as much as I want to because of how busy I am working
Yeah.
with blockchain and everything I'm doing. But
Yeah.
any other year that you would have known me, I could tell you everything about you know any sport,
Baseball.
like baseball, basketball, football. Different stats from different years, the comparison on like I could do technical analysis on sports basically.
Oh, there you
Oh
go.
yeah, I was one of those guys.
I
You know,
guess that we resonate with the things, the domains, the fields that are meaningful to us.
absolutely, absolutely.
But
So yeah,
if something doesn't make any sense to us, that we don't have any frame of reference, sometimes, no matter how lucrative it is, you're just dragging yourself there, and it's not sustainable.
yeah,
You're
for
draining
sure.
your
So
soul, so to speak.
yeah, so I was working a lot, and then I started doing the comic book stuff, and I started working a little bit less as a bartender, and because I was able to make a little bit of money here and there, not crazy money, but a little bit of money, and then you know Cameron was born.
Mm,
So when Cameron was born, that's things changed a little bit for us,
okay.
and so things were happening for my wife at her job, and she was excelling a lot. Like she is very good at what she does. She's a leader for Progressive Insurance. She's one of the supervisors
Mm,
here in the San Antonio branch, and she does a lot of she does like she manages a group of people who handle claims. So
okay.
anybody who's in wrecks and stuff like that, like so she's like the supervisor to them. But yeah, so she ended up getting a promotion, and it was a promotion that was able to change our lives financially to the point where I didn't need to work and I was able to stay with Cameron at
Yeah.
home. And we're very fortunate for that to happen because then the pandemic came, and it was just like a like crazy storm of things that were happening. So I don't know if I haven't mentioned it yet, but my son has a um, sensory processing disorders. I haven't mentioned it in this little interview yet, but he has a sensory processing disorders. So he requires a lot of attention because he doesn't know when he's hungry or thirsty or sleepy or a lot of different things. Like he requires a lot of vestibular movement. There's a lot of things that happen in the human body that we take for granted,
Right.
and it's just normal processing. And well, for children or individuals that have these disorders, they really have a hard time, being in uh, situations or places that we would consider normal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like people with sensory processing disorders have issues with hearing things too loudly versus other things, or focusing on what they hear versus all the different noises going on. There's a lot of different things. There's a lot of different studies, and so yeah. So I'm basically the caretaker for Cameron right now.
Hmm.
So I spend most of my days, waking up and taking care and making sure that he's okay. And we have 4 different therapists that wonderful therapists that help us out. And he's showing a lot of improvement. At the beginning, we're extremely scared because he wouldn't turn when we would call his name. And it was kind of frightening, especially if we were at a park and it was just us, me and my wife and Cameron, and we would be calling him and he would just pay us no attention. So we were
Mm.
really, really concerned at the very beginning. So, we got him looked at, and yeah, so he has these disorders, and yeah, so that's where we're at right now. I take care of him throughout the day while my wife works, and
Yeah.
then at night that's whenever I put on my creator hat and I go into the matrix, is what I call it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
There you go.
I go in and I learn the blockchain or do the different tasks that that we have for the sandbox, and that's the organization that we're currently a part of.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's so much fun. I learned all the blockchain with
Yeah.
through NFTs at first by
Right.
exploring, how to get my digital art on the blockchain and sell it, and
Did
that.
you pass by Ethereum first before you deployed on Near?
Yes, I did. So
Hmm.
I put a few things up on Rarible, which is connected to OpenSea. I got accepted into Foundation, which
Yeah.
is a platform that's invite only.
Yeah.
So I got invited as an artist there, and then right before I got invited to Foundation, um,
OpenSea
uh,
Foundation?
no, it's Foundation is just its own platform.
Ah.
Yeah, yeah. So right before I got invited to OpenSea, I actually uh, was in contact with Ricky from Paris,
Oh, yeah.
and that's how I got exposed at first to Near, and
Through Ricky himself.
to Ricky himself.
How did you get to how did you stumble upon Ricky?
Well, I reached out. Well, I did a lot of research on a bunch of different blockchains. Like
Okay.
I was determined to figure this all out because I didn't understand. It's hard to understand at the beginning
Right.
that you can sell your digital work and get virtual currency and it'd be worth US dollar. So I was determined to learn it all, right?
Yeah.
So I researched blockchains and I figured out, hey, there's more than just one blockchain, right? So
Hmm.
I started looking at all the different blockchains that were creating marketplaces, and I just saw through Twitter, I saw that their messages were open, and I reached out to them. I'm like, hey, I want to know a little bit more about this. I'm an independent comic book artist. With the pandemic occurring, the printers aren't working, and I'm really looking at how I could push my comics forward and this and that. And Ricky was very approachable. He was nice. He had told me about Paris. It was at the beginning, like I believe they had just started like 3 or 4 weeks before.
December
And
2020.
yeah, 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 yeah. It might have been 5 weeks. Yeah, 5 weeks because I reached out to him at the beginning of February, and so we had a few conversations, and then I got invited to be an artist by. He was like, you know what, submit your application, and we'll get you on the platform. We're really thinking about making our platform a place where we could have multiple collectibles, not just uh, not just the digital art cards. And he was like, maybe you could start telling some of your stories through digital art cards, and then we're gonna think about deploying a way of putting out comic books as well, and you could kind of help us lead the way through that, and like, go about it that way. We would really love for you to join, our community. And I'm like, yeah, I love that opportunity. I love
Yeah.
cards. I love cards so much. I collect cards now. I'm weird. I collect a lot of different things. I
Yeah.
collect toys.
Do you have you collected on Paris itself yourself?
Yeah, I actually have. I have a couple of different cards there.
Okay.
Not just mine, obviously, but
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
I have a
I
couple of
remember
different.
that there was this event called like the less than $1 one
Yeah,
year.
so right, yeah,
What
so
do you
we
call it?
have it's card for card.
Card for card.
So
Yeah, I actually bought several. So
we actually have another one going on that started today.
oh
So
really?
Paris, yeah, yeah. So they did the card for the first time last month,
Uh-huh.
and it was such a success that they decided to go ahead and do it again. And
Okay.
so yeah, it started today or yesterday.
Yeah.
Yesterday, it's so Riki and their platform is based off Indonesian time. So I
Hmm.
believe it started yesterday.
Okay.
So
Or yeah,
yeah.
I think we're just an hour, I think earlier or later than him. So yeah, it's Saturday, almost it's 9:30 here in the evening. So probably yeah, about 12 hours ago or something. Yeah, but
Yeah, yeah.
what makes just for emphasis here, Sam, what makes Near unique when it comes to NFT artists? Why should they at least start kicking off their careers on Near instead of on Ethereum or something
Well,
else?
first of all, to be honest with you, it's very, 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 very affordable to mint your art on Near. Like it costs less than a penny to
Hmm.
mint your art. So it's very, very affordable. And in addition to it being affordable compared to Ethereum, because it could cost, anywhere from, as low as $10 to mint to as much as, $200 to mint, depending on how many transactions are occurring. Like, uh, there's like a weird like science to it all. But
Yeah.
yeah, it could be extremely expensive. I remember minting with Foundation, that platform that I got invited to. It cost me about $100, like US dollars, to mint, uh, because to mint it costs $50, and then to list it costs another $50. I was like, what? You're getting all these, like, you have all these different fees. So
Wow.
whenever I spoke to Riki about it, he's like, yeah, man, we're doing it on Near, and Near is very, very, very inexpensive because they do scalability, and the future is very bright for Near because they're introducing multi-chain. You know what I mean? They're focused on having multiple transactions from multiple blockchains on theirs, not just Near. Whereas on Ethereum, at the time, you could only use Ethereum to purchase, on their blockchain. And we fast forward now, you know, Near introduced the Rainbow Bridge, right? So
Yeah.
we're figuring out different ways to introduce new blockchains to our blockchain, so that way we can have a multi-chain transactions happening.
Right.
And I think
So
that's
that's
a
the
great,
advantage.
yeah, that's a great
Mm,
advantage for a lot of different artists, because we'll have a bunch of different exposure
right.
to to
Why don't
blockchains
you
from all
show
over.
us your portfolio there on Paris?
Yeah, of course. Let me bring it over here.
Let's see the progress that you have with the Ninja
Oh,
Turtle. Is that
oh yeah,
Donatello?
it's just a random. It's just one guy, one eye. Well, actually, it's Raphael. I forgot he has a sigh right here. But
Oh, there you
but yeah, it looks like I got almost the entire arm done while I was talking to
go.
you. I,
Yeah.
I had I didn't have the eye done. Yeah, so yeah, that's what I've been doing the entire time. But let's
Okay.
go. Let me save this real quick, and then I could bring over my Paris profile.
There you go.
So let's go to share screen. New share. Go to think I could do this. Oh no, screen two's fine. Right, you could see. Can you see the web page now?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So let's go to my Paris. This is like from Twitter. You could get to my small little website that has all my links here.
Mm,
So these are the multiple platforms that I'm on. So I'm on the foundation one at the bottom, if you could see, then
yeah.
OpenSea and Rarible, they kind of connect. And then Hayat Nuke, that's on the Tezos blockchain. I
Okay.
I experienced with them for a little bit, but I haven't really put too much on there. I put Tales from the Odd on there. But let me go to Paris to show you.
Okay.
So Paris, this is my page right here. Um, so here are this one right here is from Last Card for Card.
Mm-hmm.
These are actually on these are on secondary market now because no longer have them available. So if you purchase this, you're purchasing it from a reseller.
Right.
And then I have the variations of the Doctrinaire. This was inspired from the NFT that I created for the Open Web Sandbox
Yeah. Party.
party. So
Yeah.
I went ahead and just made multiple variations. So I have the base one, which is the yellow or the gold, if you want to call it. Then I have green, blue, and then the most rare is the red one, which there's only 5 of.
Okay. No wonder the price hike.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, I go. The
The
prices
basic
change.
supply and demand fundamental economic principle.
Yep. And then so I did the Captain Ethereum 2.0 for the card for card exclusive, and that was inspired by the Captain Ethereum 1 that I did. So it's just a different variation.
Mm-hmm.
And these right here, so it goes lower in price by how many as well.
Yeah.
And obviously that one's inspired by Captain America. I don't know if you could tell, but yeah, Captain America is I like Captain America a lot.
Yeah.
One of my favorites. And then I got the Tales from the Odd right here with the multiple variations. This is one of the ones I did with Gary.
Okay.
Right here. I'm working on number 2 for that's the Ninja Turtle I'm gonna put out, and I should be done with it either next week or the following week, depending on
Okay.
what else happens. And then what should be loading right now is the Man of Bitcoin.
Right. Are all of your cards already do they all have royalty already past March or some of them?
I believe the only one that doesn't have royalty is the very first Man of Bitcoin.
Okay.
So if anyone was to collect the Man of Bitcoin, like this first one down here, if you could see it,
Yeah.
this one has no royalty. So like if they own it completely.
Mm.
So, and there's 250 of those made, I believe.
Okay.
So I mean, there's tons of them available still. So you
Okay.
can go and buy that for 2.5 near, and yeah. But yeah, so these are the other colors. This one there's only one of the red one. Then there's 10
Mhm.
of the green ones, and I believe 25 or 50. I think it's 25 of these
Okay.
of the blue ones. But yeah, these are the cards that I have for sale right now. And then let me show you my collection because those are my creations.
It's amazing how you can blend colors and make them I think you employ different principles on contrast and shading, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm saying, man. I mean, it's not even a jargon. I haven't gone through any seminar, but yeah, I could sense something like that, somewhere along those lines.
Yeah, it's crazy too because I have multiple ways of like I'll show you right now in a second.
Okay.
All the different brushes I have on when I go back to Photoshop. But this is my collection. I believe this one is from one of the Philippines NFT artists right here.
Yeah.
Was it Connoisseur? Connoisseur? I forgot it. Let's go to the details real quick. There's a couple of them I've gotten from him. I really
Yeah.
like his work. Connoisseur Dane?
Oh, dang. Yeah. I think, yeah, she's, I don't know if it's a she or he, but Yeah, Dane's from us, I believe.
Yep, yep. And I think also this one right here, the aura.near.
Mhm.
The
Abracadabra.
yeah, yeah. I think maybe that's it. I got Dane. I think this is another one from Dane too.
There you
Dane.
go.
I really like the work. I always tell them to. Or yeah, this is Dane.
Yeah.
This is, and then Katrina. I really liked hers too. I saw this one on the Philippines too. The
Okay.
Philippines
Wow.
Telegram. Yeah, like I really like some of their artwork. Here's another one from the who is this? Radawi.near. I'm pretty sure
Oh,
this. I
yeah.
found this one on Facebook. These are all really nice. And then there's one more I'm a real big fan of. I'll wait for it to load. I
Mm.
bought three of their collections, or three from the collection that they started. We'll wait for it to load real quick. But yeah, which one is it? Just waiting for the screen. Sometimes it takes this one right here. I'm not sure who the artist is, but I really like Centronix or Centronix.near.
Centronics. I'm not
They
pretty
post,
sure, but there's a bunch of them there.
yeah, they post on the Facebook for near too. I really like their art for
Yeah.
the Philippines. Yeah,
Oh,
I
wow.
got
It's good to know.
I got all of them. Looks
You
like
know, these guys, when we reached out to them, they were like, crypto, is that a scam or something? But now, like they took the plunge.
yeah. I mean, it's a very good opportunity for artists who work. I mean, you don't even have to do digital art. If you are able to do it all by hand and you have the opportunity to scan it in, like if you
Hmm.
have a scanner or you go to the library and use one of their scanners and get
Yeah.
it onto a computer, I mean, you could just put your regular artwork onto the digital platforms. It does not have to be digital. I've seen uh, a, a bunch of artists who do traditional paintings
Yeah.
and they upload their art and they sell it. They sell the physical with the NFT.
Oh, so NFT
Yes,
is just a representation, like a receipt.
yes. It's like how when
It's a
you
token.
purchase, yeah, like when you purchase a vehicle.
Yeah.
When you purchase a vehicle, unless you have the title, you don't really own it.
Right.
The
Yeah.
bank owns
Yeah.
it.
Is the proof
So
of ownership.
exactly,
So you
and
bought
that's what.
those punks near punks?
Yeah. Let's see. This one was part of the card for card.
Okay.
So yeah, I bought a whole bunch of them from their card for card because I mean
I know it
they're
was like
20.
so cheap.
Yeah, I think this one's from no, that's Montre. Yeah, Monstre.near. Yeah, these are real cool.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, yeah.
Pokemon.
There's a
I
lot of
like that.
different artists on here. This one right here, the near punk too.
Oh, that's Andy's work right there. The guy who's like being beamed up.
This one right here, I think this one is with Star Paws, born from Nearmont
Yeah.
Edge. Yeah,
Yes, I know Star Pulse. Yeah.
his name's Jordan.
Yeah. He's actually on the forum, and I didn't know that he's an artist. This one, the guy who's like floating and being beamed
Mhm.
up. I think
Yeah,
that's from
yes,
Andy.
yes. The Drew
Drew
Marpa.
Marpa.
Yes,
Yeah. He's one of
I got
us,
that.
part of the
Yes,
near Philippines.
I got that
Like
one and
really
this
like
one.
core group. He's like a video editor for us.
Yeah, this one right here too on the right side that I'm
Yeah.
pointing at. That one's
Yep.
from him too.
Hmm.
I really liked his work, so I picked it up. But yeah,
Nice.
that's my collection
There you
on
go.
near or on Paris. I'll
Okay.
be adding a few more today from the card for card. I just haven't had an opportunity to go. But
Okay.
yeah, whenever they first, right now I haven't had any sales in the past week or so, maybe like one or two. But
Mhm.
whenever they first redid the whole front page, like they just had a couple of updates on Paris. Like I'll show it to you.
Okay. But also, before
They
we
added
wrap
this.
this up, yeah. Oh, so okay, yeah. So those are like the featured. works or artist for the
Well,
card for
this one
card?
shows you this right here shows you like the last sold,
Okay.
like the latest purchase that's getting sold. So anybody who's just purchased, like if I go and I purchase a card,
Yeah.
like you'll see it pop up. But
Mm,
these are some of the new features. And for the first couple of like days, I was actually number two and top seller, number three for a little bit,
yeah.
number five. I was in the top 10 for a while. And it looks like, yeah, so it was pretty exciting.
Wow.
But now I haven't had any sales in a couple of days, just a few. And so I'm not in the top. Look, there's Hero right there. He sold
Oh, there
39.
goes Hero.
He's
Man.
top five right there.
Yeah, man.
Yep,
I'm
the
so happy
Katrina
for
right
them.
there.
Mm-hmm.
Katrina right there. That's I bought one of her works. I thought it was awesome.
Okay, there you
But
go.
yeah, the Filipino section is getting really good. Look, there's another one right there. 165 cards sold. Look at that.
Oh, there you go.
Look,
Well, I'm not
yeah,
familiar with them because there's tons of them who are new and who have already been whitelisted, but I haven't kept up who's which and who's and who's where.
yeah. On the yeah, I've been following them a little bit on the Telegram, and
Yeah,
I just like to just stay up to date to see what's going on. But
yeah.
yeah, that's how it looks on Paris. Let me show you something else real quick before we go.
Yeah,
This
and
is
then also give them some encouragement, Filipino artists, especially in trying to be open-minded and get out of the comfort zone so as to explore other dimensions, if you will.
yeah, definitely for anybody that's looking to get into this type of field. I would definitely suggest going on YouTube. That's how I did all my research. I did, and I know it's kind of crazy to say I did my research on YouTube, but right now with blockchain, a lot of this stuff isn't even being taught in university schools. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it's the only way for you to get an idea of what's going on. You know what I mean? And if you really want to learn all the latest things, you could you could definitely learn a lot from all the resources that are getting put on YouTube, especially through Near. Near has a lot of resources. We have all the guilds, we have all the YouTube channels, we have the Discord, multiple servers on Discord. Like it's really a community. So I
Yeah.
would definitely encourage you guys to get involved somehow with a one or one Discord server at least, because eventually you'll end up expanding to like 4 or 5 or 6 different Discord servers that are all near.
For sure.
But we all talk about different things. It's all different subjects, and it's just a great community that we have built already, and we're learning from each other.
Yep. So this is the animation for Split Second.
Yeah. So this is the Man of Bitcoin 2.
Yeah.
This is the next one in the series that I'm putting out today on Paris, and this one's going to be animated.
Okay.
So you could see I mean, it's difficult to understand at first, but this is my timeline right here.
There you
So
go.
everything that I do on this side, like the layers, it all pops up on my timeline over here. And then I have the opportunity to go in, and I'm not sure if you're familiar with animation, but the way they do animation is they do 24 frames per second. So I go
Okay.
in here, and I have all my layers on top of one another. And
Mm-hmm.
like for instance, right here, if you can see this opacity,
Mm-hmm.
this one is actually on frame 11, and it is. Let's see. If I go back over here to number 3, where is it at? Right here. You can see that it's 100% opacity, right? That
Okay.
means that it's 100% that you could see. But if I wanted to adjust it, I could go right here and make it invisible.
Oh,
You see what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah.
So what
Wow.
I've done is I have multiple layers, and I have three different versions of this guy, and I just
Okay.
have them all being popping up at 100%, and
Yeah.
then right after at 0. So that way it makes them move.
Okay.
So
But your style is your style. Maybe other artists could do a different, total different, like
oh
layering
yeah,
or
for
yeah.
sure,
Okay.
for
That's
sure,
just
for
Sammy
sure.
style.
Yeah, so there's multiple ways. There's okay, so let me show you real quick. I'll pop up one more thing before we go. This is a new technique that I'm starting to do,
Mm-hmm.
and this is based on uh, grouping and layers where they're their own section.
Okay.
Like their layers their own like part of the page, right? So this is a new type of technique. Whereas let me exit out of this right here. Whereas this other one that I did, I'm going to show you a collaboration piece that I did with two other comic book artists. Uh, one of them worked for DC Comics and did Aquaman for
Okay.
about 50 issues,
Wow.
and the other one, Barry McLean, he actually just got signed for his original comic uh, called Billy the Kid. It's
Okay.
like a Western rabbit, and he's it's awesome. Like I would definitely, he's on Twitter. You could search for it, and I would definitely recommend you taking a look at it. But let me show you real quick. I'm going to. Oh, sorry, I just want to show you guys an example real quick. Right here. Oh, it's right here, actually. There we go. Okay, Dr. Fake gift. All right, so the other way I had it on a timeline. This one
Okay.
right here, it's still animation, but it's called frame by frame animation. So
All right.
every frame is different. I went ahead and I adjusted it differently. So everything is its own page.
Wow.
Yeah. So everything is its own page. So whenever you see it though, so let's start it at the beginning. When you see
Yeah.
it, this is all 0.1 second. But when you see it's slow at the beginning, but then you start seeing it go fast.
Mm.
And so the end product, after I get it out of this Photoshop section, is over here. Let me bring it up real quick so you can see the end work. Where am I? Where am I? Yeah, sorry, I have a bunch. I have a bunch of stuff. It's all right, so it'll pop up, and that's how it looks.
Oh, wow.
So you see how different it is, like
Yeah.
when it's out of Photoshop than when it is in Photoshop.
Right.
So so that was the frame by frame animation, and then we could
Wow.
even go further back into looking. I already have the these ones right here ready. I have to. I found an error that I made, so I have to go back and redo a little part. But
Okay.
I'll show it to you how it's gonna look anyway.
Yeah, but
Anyways,
looking forward to it on your launch. Is it gonna be on the card for card or just a regular series by Toshi?
well, okay. So I'm gonna have this the Man of Bitcoin one. This it's gonna be a regular series, but then I'm gonna do a version of it where it's the Doctor Near. It's gonna be the same thing, Doctor Near instead, and
Okay.
he's gonna have his powers glowing right here,
Mm,
and it's gonna say the Man of Bitcoin too because that's how it's part of the Man of Bitcoin series.
yeah.
But I'm gonna make a card for card version, and then I'm gonna
Yeah.
make a limited version that's not part of card for card. And so there'll be 25 versions of the non card for card ones, and then I'm gonna make 1,000 of the card for card ones, and whichever ones don't get purchased, I'm gonna go ahead and destroy
Yeah, gonna
at the
burn
end of
them.
the card for card. Yep. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's how this looks. And I don't know if you could tell, but right here, I messed up. I didn't shade one of the sections, so it looks weird.
Oh, wow. Okay. There goes
Yeah,
the
so I have to go.
painstaking, fastidious part of it, because it's
Yeah,
got to be
yeah.
as perfect as possible. Yeah.
I have to pay attention to the detail.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, that's basically my story. I'll actually be starting my own mint-based store pretty soon here. I've been really slow about it.
Yeah.
Because I've been working with the Open Web Sandbox, and we're doing Humans of Guild with them.
Hmm.
So I actually have to contact Valentina a little bit later and get set up with that, so we could put that one out later this week. And then I'm actually uh, working on a rewards program for
Sandbox.
the Open Web Sandbox, and I'll be creating NFTs so that people could collect the NFTs along with the different tasks that they are partaking in
Yeah.
addition to earning. So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
gonna
for
be
sure. The
that's gonna be
whole
awesome.
incentivizing stuff. Yeah. So yeah, Sam, I guess that we can always encourage like budding artists and really concierging them and reassuring them that it doesn't have to be that much of a culture shock, so to speak, just an open mind. And then we're here. You can reach out to us, or we reach out to them actually, so that
Yeah,
they can have their creations shared in the blockchain universe or metaverse, if you will.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. Once again, like I'm open to anyone. My DMs are open on Twitter. You
Yeah.
can reach me there on Twitter. You can reach me on Discord. You can
Hmm.
reach me on Facebook through Messenger. I know I'm part of the Philippines Facebook community now. So
Yeah.
anybody who is watching and needs help or direction, feel free to reach out to me or Orvard. I mean, we're really looking at putting together, something cool for the Filipino community where, they won't need to actually worry about minting. I
Yeah.
mean, they could come to us and we could help them out and, you know, try to get them some exposure. That's something we're going to be doing in the future. So I definitely encourage any, Filipino artist to reach out to me or Orvard. We could go ahead and talk about anything.
Yeah.
I share all my secrets.
Yeah, that's what I like about you, Sam. You're like a team player, So which kind of like you drew it from the sports, like
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
sports arena. Yeah.
Being here in San Antonio, we have the Spurs.
Yeah.
So the Spurs are a big influence on everything that I've you know yeah, everything growing up. I mean, sports was huge. I was a basketball athlete, um, and growing up, you being on a team, you learn how to rely on others and not just think that you could do it all by yourself.
Yeah.
So I think that when it comes to blockchain, I think we're in this little community where everybody kind of has that understanding. Like,
Right.
what? Developers develop, creators create, and then we have
Organizers organize.
exactly. We delegate, like we have people that delegate things and know how to get things done.
Yeah.
So, it's all about collaborating. Right now, if you're not collaborating, I think you're falling behind. And unless you have your own little, following of,
Right.
people who buy all your things. I mean,
Hmm.
yeah, if collaborating is the best way to go about it, because then you expose yourself to everybody else's community.
Yeah.
So I'm always looking to collaborate. I mean,
Well,
anybody who wants to reach out to me,
yeah,
feel
we'll
free.
put it on in the show notes, all your handles and stuff, so that they can reach out to you. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's Santoshi F Baby at everything. I think the only thing that's different is my Facebook. Facebook, I just go by Sammy Flores.
Okay. Yeah, we'll just put it in the show notes, everything. So yeah.
Sweet.
So once again, Sam, we'll see you in the blockchain universe. Yeah.
Absolutely. I enjoyed this. Thank you for having me on. Thank you for letting me show people, what I do.
Hmm.
If it's confusing, I know, but feel free to reach out to me for any tips or anything at all regarding blockchain. Uh, I'm a moderator for the Open Web Sandbox, just like Orvard is.
Yeah,
So we're very approachable, and all we're doing is looking to help our ecosystem grow within the near blockchain. So
for
that's our
sure.
main focus.
All right. Hey, everyone, once again, follow Sam. We're going to put his handle in the show notes so that you can see his creation there and maybe reach out to him. Um, he replies to you. So that's it. Thank you very much once again, Sam. Once again, guys, um, this is Orvard, and this is Near Protocol Philippines, the future of crypto and blockchain. And until next time, just be yourself and be creative. All right. Bye for now.
Bye, guys.